More than what I want, you what I need. Open up, I'm more than what you see. I know that you're man enough. I'm woman enough to keep your image up, babe. I see how girls get down. They make it hard to care. I'll show you how I move. Disrespect, I won't dare. You'll love me like your friend. You want me more around. I've had enough of games and playing now. I'll call it out, I'll call it out. Because of the world, me and you need more. More than just a friend. Be lovers in this war. Don't fight it, fight it for your word. Me, you and I before. And others take a seat. We deserve the world. Deserve it. You need honor and recognition. You need recognition. All right. Welcome to the LexCHAT. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was just my song, Lovers in This War, from my album, Love Reset. Please go check it out. It's available everywhere. I also have physical CDs, which I would actually prefer for you to buy instead of, just only listening on streaming, but that's strictly from a support standpoint. That was my song, Lovers in This War, from the album Love Reset. All right. You can find it on Spotify, Apple. In the future, we might be beefing with Spotify. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon, YouTube. You can buy the physical album from my website, LexCATL.com, LEXCATL.com. And I would highly encourage you to get the signed and or personalized message option when you go to order the album, just because, it's different to experience the music when you have something you can physically touch and hold in your hand as a reminder, like, oh, this is when this was released. I have something to remember this by. I feel like in general, it's easier to remember things when we can connect them to tangible items. So it's not just a sound, it's not just a smell, but having something as a physical representation, I think is important. And music may or may not get back to that, but yeah, that's my little soapbox, my little spiel about my album. I would highly recommend you go buy it. Please, please, please. But let's get into this, right? Thank you so much for tuning in to LexCHAT today. LexCHAT is a show dedicated to music and entertainment where we talk about the industry and the business, and we help each other to become better artists and better creatives. You can catch these chats live on Instagram at LexCATL. That's at LEXCATL to be part of the conversation. Or you can catch the replays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Wherever you're watching or listening, please like, subscribe, follow, and engage with the content by leaving comments and reviews, okay? If you want to go the extra mile in supporting me, you can do so by going to patreon.com/LexCATL. Remember that LexC is LEXCATL. And that's where you can make a monthly donation to help me to be able to create and give you more valuable content on a more consistent basis. Now, just recently, I've added another tier. I'm going to try to get back into the mentorship aspect of it. But there's a $5 tier, which is just you want to support. You want to throw a little something at your girl to help me be able to have a more stable income and in turn give me the time to be able to create more valuable content for you. I've also just re-added a mentorship option, which is $150 per month, and that will give you 2 one-on-one virtual meetings, virtual consultations where I help to guide you through building your musical foundation, setting up your PRO, setting up your social media, teaching you how to get things in order, such as having all the same name on your social media and websites, building a social media presence, building out that profile link, getting a link in bio, and walking you through, if we need to go through critique of songs, then I can help you with that. If we need to go through me teaching you how to, what's the word? Let's talk about languages in the studio, like how to be better in the studio, how to prepare for the studio, and then how to find showcases, how to find opportunities, how to get into sync, licensing, all of those things. Basically,
a consultation, and we speak twice a month. We do follow-ups every 2 weeks, right? If you're interested in that, that's $150 per month on Patreon. And I'm going to cap that at 10 people that I'll be doing that for per month. I think that is reasonable for myself. And I think I could maintain that. That's basically 20 hours a month. So yeah. Between the 10 people is what I'm saying. But anyway, you can do that by going to patreon.com/LexCATL, patreon.com/LEXCATL. I want to give a shout out to my current patrons and supporters, Mr. Flat Shoals and Eldon Cleary. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and helping me to feel appreciated and, all that good stuff. I really do appreciate that. And the $5 per month from y'all, it really truly goes a long way. Now let's get into these updates and announcements. The next virtual coffee date is going to be next week, or this upcoming Sunday. So not today, but next Sunday, December 3rd at 12 p.m. on Instagram at LexCATL. Okay. Virtual coffee date, Sunday, December 3rd at 12 p.m. noon on Instagram at LexCATL. This is just a bunch of creatives getting together. We're going to hop on live together and talk about what are some things that we're working on, what are some goals we have for the upcoming month, if we are struggling with implementing anything to get those goals off the ground, or if we need help being pointed in the right direction for resources. And, as creatives, as a group of creatives, we can help each other to work through those struggles. Sorry, I have a lot of brain farts recently, but we can help each other to work through those struggles, and we can help point each other in the right direction for different resources. So join us for the virtual coffee date one more time. That is December 3rd, Sunday, December 3rd at 12 p.m. on Instagram at LexCATL. Next announcement, my birthday is coming up on December 6th, and all I want for my birthday and all I want for Christmas, because they're so close together, all I want for my birthday is for you to buy my album. And of course, like I said in the intro, I would love for you to buy the physical CD because it's a physical reminder of the release. But if that's not your thing, you can also buy a digital copy on iTunes. What I want for my birthday is to please buy directly. Don't just stream, buy directly. That would be great. If you want to buy directly from me, you want the physical copy, you want it signed, you want a personalized message, you can go to www.lexcatl.com, www.lexcatl.com. Okay. Otherwise, you can search for LexC on Apple Music and iTunes, and you can buy the album as well. And that will also be greatly appreciated. And that kind of leads me into my next update. So we all know that Christmas is around the corner. December starts next week. So does my birthday and all that good jazz. I don't know if y'all remember, but last year I did a Ratchet Christmas giveaway. I gave a Ratchet Christmas gift basket to a lucky winner. All right. And I'm going to be doing the same thing this year. However, I don't want it to be just one Ratchet gift basket for one person. I want to give, let me look at my calendar. How many weeks are in December? Let me see. Oh, I'm not on the internet. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 weekends in December. So what I think I want to do, right? I want there to be a winner every single week for this Ratchet Christmas giveaway. That's what I want to do. Now, last year, what did you get in your Ratchet basket for Christmas? You got some lottery tickets. Okay. You got some eggnog with liquor in it. You got a Santa hat. You got some condoms. You got a gift card so you can get some wings, because what's a Ratchet Christmas without some lemon pepper wings? You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I wonder what else I'll add to the Ratchet basket. I think I put a candle in there too. I got to look back on my social media, but I want to do that on a little bit of a lesser scale for somebody's 4 or 5 somebodies in December. And how is that going to work? Well, you got to pay attention to my Instagram, my social media, and I will be announcing the exact rules and regulations and how you can participate. But a quick rundown, because I don't have all of the details just yet. But basically what it's going to be is you will be entered into a drawing. So I'm going to be drawing names at random, and there's going to be a winner once a week, of whom I will announce on LexChat. Okay. And I'll announce on Instagram as well. So I'll announce it on Instagram and LexChat. And how are you going to enter? You have to be following me, LexC, at LexCATL on Instagram, because that's where the bulk of this giveaway is going to be happening. You have to be following me. Ooh, and I might do this across my different social platforms. I don't know yet. You got to be following me, and you have to buy the album. And like, if you do it through my website, then I'll be able to see it. Okay. And then send me a message or something to let me know that you want to enter the contest. That'll give you at least 10 entries, I think, is how I'm going to do that. So if you buy the album, you get 10 entries. If you share my music on your story, that's 1 entry, and you can share as many times as you want to. Okay. And the more entries that you put in, the more likely you are to win the prize. Now, you're only going to be able to win once, I think. I haven't decided yet. I didn't write this out and think about this for real before I started this podcast today. But I'm either going to have it to where you can only win one, because I'm deciding if I want all of the Ratchet gift bags to be the same, or if each week there will be a different prize. Let me know what y'all think about that. But that's how you're going to be able to participate. And you got to stay tuned into my Instagram for official details. And if you're on my newsletter, of course, I will announce it to the people who are on my newsletter as well. But look out for that. Lastly, on my updates and announcements, really quick rundown. I had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope that y'all had a great Thanksgiving as well. I was able to spend it with family, which is great because we had some family come down from North Carolina. My brother came up from Florida, and everyone was in Georgia this year. And gosh, I'm so happy because I haven't seen my family from North Carolina in a few years. And my mom is living in Georgia, has been for like 2 years now. Before she was here, I was pretty much by myself. The last time I had somebody in Georgia was when my brother was here going to school. We were in school around the same time. But, you never realize how much you miss family until it's not easy or convenient to see them, and it really sucked having everybody be so far away all the time. And if you've been listening to me for a while, or if you haven't, then you may or may not know that I sometimes struggle with like a scarcity mindset when it comes to finances, and being able to afford to travel to see people is something that's just not been worked into my budget yet, something I haven't been comfortable enough to prepare for budget wise. So to be able to, spend a little bit of money, have the little bit of money to be able to go and drive and visit, to go to my mom's house, and then to also have everybody there, it felt really great. So I hope y'all enjoyed y'all's Thanksgiving as well. Mine was great. I made the banana pudding this year. I was supposed to make the cornbread, but I have forgot. But I also went to the gym with my stepdad. It's basically like a burn boot camp situation, but it's called ISI Elite Training. And very hard. It was a mega session on Thanksgiving, full body workout. They divided us up into 6 groups, and we were doing crazy things. There were so many burpees on Thanksgiving. What the heck is wrong with those people? So many burpees. There were burpees, there were chest presses, there were medicine ball squats, there were jump squats, there were suicides, there were bus drivers, there were boxing, like boxing with the dumbbells. I don't know what that movement called, but just call it boxing, I guess. And it was just torture. It was terrible, but I made a lot of room for Thanksgiving. Me and my stepdad, nobody else in the family wanted to do it Thanksgiving morning. Figures. My mom's excuse was she wanted to get up and cook, and she had been up since 6 o'clock cooking. She didn't have to get up that early, but anyway, it was fun. All of that to say, Thanksgiving this year was great, and I'm just thankful that I got to spend time with family. I met one of my nephews for the first time, so that was also amazing, and he actually liked me, and he was cuddling up with me and being cute, and that made me feel really good because I worry about the younger family that's coming in. I worry about if they're gonna know me, if they're gonna remember me, if they're gonna like me, something I have to do better with in general is just being closer to my family and figuring out what does that look like. Not that it will all rest on me for the responsibility of keeping in touch, but what can I do on my part to make sure that family knows who I am and that we have a relationship, a friendship within the family? I think that's something a lot of people struggle with and can relate to, so yeah. And that's all I got for the updates and the announcements. Okay, let's get into the topic. This week on LexChat, I want to talk mindset. And I don't mean for this to be a super long conversation, but I just want to talk to you about the importance of placing yourself in the right environments. So this is going to be a mindset chat. During November's virtual coffee date at Shots Fired Productions, he brought up a very interesting statement when he said something along the lines of not feeling creative because you are not in an environment that encourages or allows for you to be and feel creative. And this got me to thinking, why don't we often recognize the environment we're in? And why don't we realize the residual effects of being surrounded by the wrong things? And I really wish I could remember what even got this topic in my head in the first place, and got me wanting to discuss it. But all I wrote down in my notes was anything you do is never just that. It's that and everything that comes with that. So how does this work into the mindset conversation? So to go back to what Shots Fired Productions said, not feeling creative because you're not in an environment that encourages or allows for you to be or feel creative. So during the coffee date, I was telling everybody how I felt like I was struggling with even having the discipline to be creative, even having the discipline to sit down. And something that's really common among us creatives, at least some of the people who've been coming to the past 3 or 4 coffee dates, is the discipline and consistency of sitting down to write, going to the studio to record, and consistently releasing music. And I was voicing my struggle of, I'm so disciplined when it comes to the gym, and I'm so disciplined when it comes to my food and my budget and, all these other things. But I still have not given myself like a set schedule to record and write. And I got a whole studio in my house, and I was voicing that struggle. And that's when Shots Fired, his name is Kendall, I believe. That's when he said, well, you also, maybe it's not entirely your fault. Like, of course, we can take personal responsibility, and we should always try to look at what is it that I'm doing or not doing that's causing me to not be as disciplined as I would like to be. And he said, we really need to examine the environment that we're in and think about how are we going to create an environment that makes us feel comfortable enough to create, because it's not easy for some people, like Wordplay, for example. He said that his studio schedule is my gym schedule. He gets up and he just creates and he does his thing, and it's a habit. So he has kind of a different mindset on this. But for others, it just seems like life gets in the way and things happen, right? What is happening in life that is causing us to not be in the mood to create? What's happening in life that's causing us to not be disciplined? And I'm sorry if I take long pauses. I've just had like brain fog these past few days. I don't understand why, but creating an environment where you can feel creative. If you're not feeling creative, what has thrown you off and as a result has turned you off from wanting to create in the moment? So you might have been stressed out from something, right? You might have gotten into an argument with somebody. You might have woken up too late and feel like your schedule is off. You might have not eaten and you can't focus because your stomach is growling every 10 minutes. These are all things that you have to think about when it comes to the environment that you're setting for yourself to essentially get yourself in the mood to create. Like some people, it just comes so easily. For me, I'm finding that I'm just never really in the mood to create. And why is that? Why is that? Why am I not feeling it? I've never been the one to rely on creating a vibe, although maybe at this point in my life, maybe that's what I need to start doing. Some people drink, some people smoke. That's pretty much it, huh? That's like the main ways that people catch a vibe in the studio. It's surrounded with drugs and liquor, which is not the healthiest thing. That directly goes against my health beliefs, right? What can I do to make my environment feel safe to create in? Well, what makes me stay disciplined with my gym workouts? It's simply something that I want to do. It's simply something that I want. And because I want it, I've figured out a way to make it consistent. Why haven't I done the same thing with music? For me personally, I'm going to walk you through my struggles, and I don't have notes on this. So this is me just kind of flowing off the top of my head for today's Lex Chat. But for me, I am not in a good creative environment because of my mental state. My mental state, and I wonder if any of y'all can relate out there. Like I mentioned earlier in the updates and announcements, I'm always worried about money and surviving and being able to pay my bills. And even though I've never experienced like homelessness, I have this huge fear of not having enough money and not having enough to survive and possibly being kicked out on the street. I don't know why, but I'm really bad with like a scarcity mindset. So I think for me, what's causing my environment to not feel safe, I don't feel like I have time to just sit down and create. And unfortunately for me, it's a gift and a curse, me becoming an engineer. It's a gift because I did that to help myself as an artist. Being in the studio is one of the most expensive things an artist will have to do. And it's an ongoing expense because you're always going to be in the studio. At least you should always be trying to be in the studio, right? So that's a gift because I engineer, but it's kind of a curse because I'm engineering full time to pay my bills. And that's caused me to put other people ahead of myself. And it's caused me to put that way of making money ahead of the time that I want to give myself to create for myself. And so here's my problem, right? Either I just suck it up and create a writing and recording schedule for myself and just, create that discipline the same way that I approach my gym and my workouts. Either I do that or I make the tough decision to stop engineering full time. And unfortunately, what's not making me feel safe is I don't make a lot of money from engineering. But I also feel like if I take on a regular job, I will be working so many hours that I won't feel like creating. But here's the interesting part with that, right? And then we'll get back to a more general conversation. The interesting part about that is I can remember when I was a server in the restaurant and there's like the receipt machine, right? The receipt paper machine. And you can press a button to have it feed you blank sheets of receipt paper. And I can remember being on the job and printing out these blank receipt papers because I had lyrics coming into my head. And all I wanted to do was get this song out. But I'm stuck at work. I'm supposed to be getting a drink. I'm supposed to be typing in an order. But I'm printing out this blank receipt paper and putting it in my server's book so I can scratch and scribble on it all night because this song, I just feel like writing. I feel so inspired at the wrong place, wrong time. But that's when my creativity was the best. So I wonder for myself, do I need to go back into working regular jobs to get like my creativity back, Because I created my first album, LexC, while working regular jobs. And I think it's an amazing project. But I also have the luxury. Other people would look at my situation and think, wow, you can just create music all day long. It must be amazing. But I'm struggling. And that's hard to say because I'm sure it doesn't look like it, but I'm not where I want to be. So that tough question of, do I continue engineering as my main means of income? Or do I shift and give myself more creative energy? Because the other issue is I feel like I'm pouring too much into other people. And other people are like, even though, this energy is not, I won't have less of it just because I give it to others, but I feel like I have less time for myself because I have to give that money making time to others to pay my bills. All of that to say, I wish we didn't live in a capitalistic society. I wish money wasn't necessary to survive, but it is. So that's my thing that I struggle with. I wonder, what are some things that you are struggling with? Money is usually the big factor for creatives, right? Making music, being in the industry, it's expensive. And everyone is up for a money grab because we're all trying to pay to be a part of this industry. That's the sad reality, the harsh reality. So for a lot of artists, I'm sure people can relate. Like, man, I would love to do it more, but I'm broke. I would love to do it more, but I'm just not able to give as much to it as I want because I have responsibilities. And so, do you make the sacrifice? Do you make a sacrifice? Or do you just take it slow? Do you make a sacrifice? Do you take it slow? Do you take a leap of faith? And these are all questions that I'm sure we are asking ourselves. And so that leads into the whole mindset of changing your environment. The note that I wrote, anything you do is never just that. It's that and everything that comes with that. So I guess this is more a conversation of thinking through our decisions and thinking through potential consequences. People hear the word consequences and they automatically get a negative connotation with it, right? But consequences can be good or bad. Great Keys Music says, I can relate. One of the things that helped me is that I started living by the motto that how you do anything is how you do everything. Ooh, that changed my habits. Let's give snaps to Great Keys. Let's read that one more time and let's let that soak in. One of the things that helped me is that I started living by the motto, how you do anything is how you do everything. And then I want to add on to that the little note that I wrote down in my notes when I decided to do this topic, apparently. So let's add on to it. How you do anything is how you do everything. Anything you do is never just that. It's that and everything that comes with that. So using music as the example, right? It's never just, let's start even smaller than that, right? Recording. It's never just recording, right? It's everything that comes with the recording. So as an artist, our entire body is an instrument. What's going to affect your recording? Did I get enough sleep? Did I eat before I came? Did I write before I came? Was I in the gym the day before and now my body is sore, so I'm not exactly focused on the feeling of the song, but the feeling of pain in my body, Did I drink enough water? Because if you don't drink enough water, your vocal cords are not at peak performance, right? And this is just for recording. This is just how your body feels. Did you do enough to prepare your body to record? And that's like physically feeding your body, right? But then you got to think about Am I in the proper mental state to record? If I didn't get enough sleep, is my brain at its highest functioning capacity, right? If I didn't get enough sleep, did I wake up early? Did I wake up on time? Am I upset with myself because I knew that I was coming to the studio, but I just let so many things get in the way of preparing for this? If I'm not in the right mental state, was it because I was arguing with my girl because she is upset with me for coming to the studio at 8 o'clock at night and staying until midnight? And this is going to ruffle some feathers, but she been wanting me to take her out, but I've been spending all my money on the studio. I hate to use that example because I'm kind of going through that right now. Where somebody, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Anyway, this is just for recording. It's physically preparing your body. It's preparing your mental state. And then it's the actual preparation of, did I even pick out a beat? Did I give myself the time to prepare for this? Did I pick out a beat? Did I think about how I felt? Did I think about what I want to say on the song? Did I write something? Did I write this song before deciding to come to the studio? Or am I like, how much time did I even book in the studio? You know, because if I booked too little time, then I need to come prepared, because if I'm not prepared, I'm not going to finish my song in the only 2 hours that I booked. But if I booked 4 hours, then I'll feel a little less stressed and I'll be able to get a more genuine feeling into the lyrics, because I'm not stressing about whether or not I have enough time to record this song. And I have the freedom to be able to write while I'm in the studio. You know, just all of these things affect just the recording. Anything you do is never just that. It's that and everything that comes with that. And then on a bigger scale for music, right? Music is not just music. Music is being an artist. Music is recording. Music is doing photo shoots and video shoots and interviews and performances and tours and meeting with millions of people, meeting like people you might not even remember after a while. You know, it's dancing, it's fitness, it's public speaking, it's learning how to control energies in a room, it's crowd control, it's influence, it's teaching, it's psychology. It's never just music. Gray Key says we face the physical and the mental grind as creatives. And I agree. It all plays a part. So when I say anything you do is never just that, it's that and everything that comes with that. How are you handling the little things? Because I really love what Gray Key said. How you do anything is how you do everything. DJ 65789 says music is life. It really is. And as simple as life sounds, we got to keep remembering and reminding ourselves, simple does not automatically equal easy. Simple does not automatically mean easy. Things can be simple, but also be difficult. What are some difficult decisions that you'll have to come to in regards to your environment? So I gave you my example earlier of, do I continue funding my life through engineering, knowing that I'm not really getting paid what I want to get paid, and I usually have to put other artists' needs above my own? Or do I make the decision to go back to working a regular job that might give me the money that I need and therefore gives me back my creative energy, you know? But there's also the possibility that I'll be too sleepy from working to even have that energy. Like, you know, it's just so many things. I wanted to get into another aspect of this conversation, so bear with me a little bit while I try to gather my thoughts. I'm trying to search for the original intent that I had behind why I wrote that note down of anything that you do is never just that. It's that and everything that comes with that. So when we talk about the mindset of changing your environment, what are you willing to change? Or how do you need to change your environment to make it more conducive, to make it more creator friendly? DJ65789 says, does it help to put your tough questions into a song? You know, there was a time where I would put everything into a song. And some of my best songs came from like my biggest heartbreaks. But I don't think I've mastered writing a song when I'm feeling great. But I'm also tired of only writing sad songs when I'm feeling sad, because I think the music manifests in ways that we may not expect, but we got to be really careful what we're always allowing our music to talk about, because words are powerful, and what you repeat to yourself, what gets stuck in your head, is what you'll live by, and it's what your life will look like if you're not careful. And so part of my creative environment, not creative environment, but what I actually choose to create has changed, or like how I choose to create, what I choose to create and how I choose to create it has changed over time, because I really dislike, and this might just be a harsh reality of life, right? But I really dislike that some of my best music has come from some of the worst pains in my life. And you know, it actually started years ago with like an abusive relationship. Now that I think about it, I didn't want to acknowledge that negativity, and I didn't want to live in that energy, because also as an artist, you are constantly performing these songs over and over again. And I just didn't want to make myself relive in those situations. We just have to be careful. To answer your question, we just have to be careful not to stay on one thing all the time. And I found myself only focusing on the negative things in my life and wondering why I was in negative situations and negative relationships. Isn't your music a reflection of how you're feeling at that time? Yeah. So changing your environment, it's really just a question of, what are you willing to do? What do you know needs to be done that you might be afraid of doing to change your environment? Is it people? Is it your own mentality that needs to be changed? There are mental environments you need to change from, as well as physical environments, spiritual environments. There are different environments that we need to keep in mind, right? Mentally, are we holding on to bad ways of thinking? Like for me, it's the scarcity mindset. I really believe that my scarcity mindset holds me back from taking risks in music. I think it does. And that's something I have to work through. How am I going to do it? Physical environments. Am I surrounded by people? And not to say that like, because your responsibility is to yourself first and foremost, but we are affected by who is around us and the beliefs of the people who are around us and the interactions we have with the people around us and in our environment. Do we need to get out of that environment? Because here's also a hard question that we need to ask, right? As far as like, what are you willing to do to change your environment to make it more creator friendly? Are you willing to take a break from music? Hopefully you don't lose the sight, but are you willing to take a break for a year, 2 years, 3 years to get your money up, put yourself in a better neighborhood, put your kids in better schools, like mobilize yourself upward socioeconomically? Are you willing to take the time to, I don't know, maybe that looks like going to school. Maybe that looks like working a crazy amount of hours, Maybe you only get to create music 3 or 4 times a year, but for 3 or 4 months straight, you work your ass off and you save up your money and you do whatever. And now you have the money to dedicate. Maybe you got enough money for 10 or 12 hours in the studio, and you do that 10 or 12 hours and you're not back in the studio for another 4 or 6 months. We'll say 3 to 6 months. Are you willing to take time away to set yourself up for a bigger impact? That's the question. It's a question that nobody wants to ask themselves, and nobody wants to think about the answers for it. But that's something that we got to think about, you know? Am I willing to take a step back so I can be propelled forward? It's like the bow and arrow analogy, right? And I think I heard this in a church sermon, and this is what I'm gonna leave y'all off on. I think I heard this in a church sermon, but the bow and arrow analogy is you have to pull back. You have to pull the arrow back to give it its best shot at propulsion. To give it its best launch, you have to pull it back and create as much tension as possible to give an arrow its force and its speed forward. Sometimes it feels like a step back, or it feels like we're sitting down. Sometimes it feels like a step back. We're not being step backed. We're not being stepped back. We are about to be launched forward. But in order to get that kinetic and that potential energy for the launch, we have to step back some. Look at the bigger picture, get our sights on a target, build up that tension, build up those resources, build up that money, all of those things. And when the time is right, release and go forward and just shoot, go for it. But who's willing to take that step back? Who's willing to be honest about, hey, maybe you don't need to do X, Y, and Z, you know? So I hope that analogy leaves you with something significant to question for yourself. And I hope that this conversation, which ended up being 40 minutes anyway, I hope that this conversation encourages you to question your environment, question yourself. Are you in a good environment that encourages you to be creative, that makes you feel safe enough to be creative? Or do you need to take a step back and look at what needs to be done to change your environment to make it more conducive and more creator friendly and more safe? So that's our conversation for LexChat today. I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you are listening or watching on YouTube, please, in the comment section, let me know what is something that you are struggling with. What environment are you struggling with? Are you struggling with your mental environment or with your physical environment? And then give me the specifics. Like, what are you specifically struggling with? I'm struggling with my mental environment of a scarcity mindset and the mental environment of not feeling like I am enough, not feeling like I have enough. So I'm working through that. What are you working through? If you are listening on a podcasting platform such as Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify, then you can actually leave a review on this episode. And I want to know the same thing. What environment are you struggling with? Is it a mental environment? Is it a physical environment? And what exactly does that struggle look like for you? And what are some possibilities for how we can change that environment? Okay. So like I said, think about those things, leave those comments, leave those reviews. You can catch these chats live on Instagram at LexCATL to be part of the conversation, or catch the replays on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Leave your comments and reviews. If you'd like to become a sponsor for LexChat, you can do so by becoming a patron at patreon.com/LexCATL, or you can buy ad spots. That'll be great too. To go on Patreon, that's patreon.com/LexCATL. You can do the $5 tier, or I also have a mentorship tier, which is $150 per month, 2 1-hour consultation calls every month, 2-week follow-ups, right? LexCATL, patreon.com/LexCATL. If you want to do like the ad sponsorship, you can email me at lexcsolo@gmail.com, LEXCSOLO@gmail.com. Before we go, I want to give another shout out to my patrons, Mr. Flat Shoals and Eldon Cleary. Remember, you can buy my album at www.lexcatl.com. That's Lexi with the Love Reset album at www.lexcatl.com. Next week is the coffee date. That's Sunday, December 3rd at 12 p.m. for our virtual coffee date right here on Instagram. And also keep in touch with my social media, Instagram, most notably, because we're about to do Ratchet giveaway for the month of December. All right. Stay tuned to figure out how you can participate and how you can get the chance to win. But I want to thank y'all so much for tuning in for LexChat. My name is Lexi. Until next time, peace.
More than what you see, it's a feeling.